Great, so the recording has started. Welcome everyone, thank you for giving me your time. My name is Stephen Versace and I'm the librarian for the human sciences here at NUST. So it is my privilege today to hopefully help you with some things that you will need in being successful with your masters. I do apologize for having to cancel last week, but I was seriously as sick as a dog, couldn't get out of bed. So I appreciate you being understanding and letting us do it on this Monday. So let's quickly start off by sharing my presentation. Now, I just want to say, when I'm sharing my screen, it can be difficult for me to see raised hands. So if you have a question at any time, please just unmute, pop in with your question, and I won't be stressed about that. I like having feedback with the students. But now let me quickly start off by sharing my screen. Just minimize that. And open my PowerPoint. Okay. So obviously we're doing an information literacy session, and we're starting off with topics that we are going to try and cover in the 2 hours we have today. So I'm going to be talking about how you should be evaluating the credibility of all the sources that you use in your work. I'm going to be discussing NUST library electronic resources, that's all our databases, and I'm going to be also showing you Scopus, because for a master student, Scopus is a very handy database when it comes to having to analyze your sources. I'll quickly show you how you can use Google Scholar, and you can link Google Scholar to the library's databases, and then I will introduce you to the Mendeley Reference Manager. And hopefully at the end of this, you'll have more tools in your tool belt to help you with your thesis. Okay. So before I get into the databases, I just briefly want to talk about credibility of sources. At this level that you are now, any source that you use in support of your work, in your paper, in your thesis, you have to select very carefully, and you have to judge it with a very critical eye. You have to apply critical thinking. The value attached to the credibility of a source cannot be overstated. Even before this current madness of fake news and misinformation spread by social media, the credibility of the sources has always been paramount. This ethos is important in the field of academic research. Proper research is a determined effort to achieve truth. And how can you achieve truth if the sources you are using are not the truth? Thus, when researching articles, websites, and other related sources of material for your research articles, you have to skill yourself and practice critical thinking in the selection of your sources. Now, the difference between finding sources on the internet through Google and using the library sources, the databases, there is a difference, but you should be critical with everything. But there is more of a sense of security when you use the library's resources, because these are academic level databases, and you can trace the sources of the information because they are references. These are proper academic level articles. You see when the stuff was created and all that kind of stuff. But when you're searching for information through Google, there is sometimes less clarity about where the information came from originally. What is the purpose behind that information? Now, that doesn't mean you must ignore stuff that you find through Google. There is valuable information you can find on the open internet. If you're after import statistics or trade statistics or human statistics, you'll find that on a government website. If you're after a company's information, you'll find that through an annual report on a company's website. If you're after health information, you'll find that through a big organization like the World Health Organization. So there is a lot of information that is available, good information out there through Google. You just have to be extra careful. Now, there is a tool that can help you, and it is called the CRAP test, but CRAP with 2 A's, so not the dirty one, but it'll help you remember it. And each of the letters stands for something. Now, the aim is you don't necessarily have to remember these off by heart, but if you can just use these to help you think critically, keep them in the back of your mind every time you're looking at a source that you found, okay? This will go a long way to helping you to select good, reliable sources. So the C stands for currency. How old is this information? When was it published? Has it been revised or updated in the meantime? Have you got the old edition and in the meantime there has been a revision? Is it current or out of date? Are the links functional? These are all important things. Now, maybe not so much in English, but in other fields like technology, engineering, medicine, so forth, if you accidentally grab out information that is outdated and you use it, okay, and you hand it in and your lecturer says, if you'd given me this assignment 5 years ago, you would have gotten great marks. But since then, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. So always make sure when you find information that the time it was created, that it is not too old for your purposes. Now, depends on your needs. Get advice from your advisor, but generally they will say don't use information more than 10 years, more than 20 years. Although with English literature, these things can go back hundreds of years, so this could be totally irrelevant. But just think about it this way as well. You're always going to need a date when you do your referencing and citation. So try and make sure you can see how old the information is that you are finding. The second part is R for relevance. How important is this information for your needs? Does it relate to your topic or answer your question? Remember, when you're doing a thesis or any assignment, your heading is the goal that you are trying to achieve. Everything must point towards that. So you mustn't get distracted. It's very easy when there are so many sources that you can find out there to go off on a tangent and start using material that isn't directly related to your heading, what it is you are trying to achieve. Okay. Also, think about who is the intended audience. If you are writing something for school children, you will use sources that are of a level applicable to school children, maybe a cartoon YouTube video. However, if you are doing a thesis or an assignment at university, your audience is your supervisor or your lecturer. Okay, these are people that are going to be giving you the marks. So you're going to make sure that the information you use is at the same level as them. So it's got to be high level academic quality sources. So things like books, things like book chapters, things like journal articles, peer-reviewed journal articles, conference proceedings, and stuff like that. If you use something like a YouTube video, it's got to be by an expert who is speaking at a level that is high, of good quality. Okay, so it's always, well, who are you aiming your paper at? And think about that, and that'll guide the kind of sources you should be using, the kind of information you should be using in your paper. And have you looked at a variety of sources? All right. If you don't use a variety of sources, if you just stick to one school of thought, if you're just getting information from one side, your paper is going to have a bias in it. So if you're after the truth, you've got to look at all sides, all sources, cast your net broadly. All right. Now we move on to the first A, authority, the source of the information. If I find a paper online through Google, yes, is there a question? Okay. If you find a paper through Google that looks pretty good, ask yourself, critical thinking, who is this person that created this information and how do I know that they are an authority, someone that I can rely on to give me good information? Who is the author, the publisher, the source, the sponsor? You're going to need that also if you're going to be doing referencing, because you have to put in an author when you do your references. Are the author's credentials or organizational affiliations given? What are they? If you're using a paper and it says there, this is a person that has lectured in linguistics for 15 years, then you've got a pretty good guess that they know what they're talking about. Are they affiliated with a certain university? Look at things like that, because once you can establish that, you can have more trust that they are an authority in the field and that you could be using their paper, their research. The second A is accuracy. Where does the information come from? Okay, how reliable, truthful, correct is the information? Is it supported by evidence? Does that person give, even if it's not an academic paper, do they at least give some links at the bottom about where they found their information? That, in other words, there is other information supporting their hypothesis, their thesis, their things that they are saying. Has it been reviewed? Has it been reviewed by experts in the field? Do they agree with this person? Can you verify any of the information in another source? Is there more than one person out there saying similar things? Does the language seem unbiased? Think about that. We have to try and avoid bias at all costs. Now, it's impossible to totally avoid a bias. Everything we do has a certain bias in it, determined by our backgrounds, where we come from, the way we think. But as far as possible, we should try and avoid bias, and especially sometimes there is bias that is there on purpose. And this is where we come to the last letter P, the purpose. Why does this information exist? Someone put information on the internet. What was the driving force behind that? Are they trying to sell you something? Are they trying to convince you of something? Are they just trying to put information out there to support their company? All that kind of stuff. Is it propaganda? Is it government? What is it? So is it objective, impartial, and unbiased? So that you've got to keep in the back of your mind as well. Are you going to use health information from the World Health Organization, or are you going to use health information from a cigarette company? Okay. Think about that. Who might have a bias in that? So in short, if you can keep these 5 things, currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose, in the back of your mind when you're looking at any information that you're searching out there, and it can pass the test, then you can have much more reassurance that you're using good, reliable sources. Okay, let's move on. Now let's talk about NUS libraries resources specifically. NUS library subscribes to academic databases. We recommend good free sources of information, and we even build and create our own database, as example, the Anonga repository. The Anonga repository, one day when you are successful, I'm not saying if, I'm saying when you are successful with your master's degree, the library will get a copy, it will get uploaded onto Anonga, and it will be available to the world to see. So take a look at Anonga. It's a good source as well for looking at other people's thesis if you want to check how things were done before. So that is our databases that we have. Those that we pay for, those that we recommend that are free, and those that we create ourselves. Then we have library search. Library search is our discovery tool. Think of it, it is a search engine, but it's more than a search engine. With this tool, we try and empower the user to find as many possible useful sources as possible. If we think back, I'm just going to give you a short history lesson. In the past, say 50 years ago or so, if somebody wanted to publish their research, and you have to publish your research because technically that research doesn't exist until you've published it and let the world know about it, you had to find a journal in your field that was suitable to your needs. So if you are doing something, if you research something about linguistics, you'd look for a good linguistics journal. You'd follow their rules and write your article according to their rules. You'd submit it. But the editor wouldn't be the person to decide. The editor would be the person who gives your article to other experts, linguistics experts, and they would decide whether your article was worth publishing, or they would turn it down, or they might send it back and say fix a few things, and then they would publish it. That keeps the standards very high in academic research in publishing. But anyway, so what would happen is it would get published in a journal, and this journal would be printed in paper, and then libraries would subscribe to these journals individually. They would arrive through the post. Now you can just imagine, with most of these journals being in Britain and Europe and America and stuff like that, they took forever to arrive through the post, and sometimes they would get lost. But then came the digital age, and clever people now went to these publishers and said, give us your articles, your journals. We will digitize, we will create digital copies, we will package them into things we can sell to libraries with a search engine, and that's how the library databases came about. So now we pay millions, and I mean millions of Namibian dollars each year to subscribe to some of these databases. Now, so then the case was you would search one database, then you would go to the next database and search it again, and it was still quite time consuming because you'd have to search them individually. So soon after that, they came with what they called a federated search engine, which is a tool where you searched once and the tool would search all the databases at the same time and deliver the results to you in one go. You didn't have to search the databases individually. You could search them all in one go, almost like a little Google. But that wasn't enough. And our most recent iteration of the search engine is now our discovery tool. So not only are you able to search what is in our databases, you can search what is in our library catalog, the books, the physical books as well. They get delivered there as well. And you can search things like our own databases like Unongo. And if we want to, we can add things like other internet sources. So this is developing more and more because we realize that students are growing up in a Google world and they want to find as much as possible in one go. And that's what we're trying to do. So library search, and I'll give a demonstration of how you can search with it, is technically our search engine. And then, of course, the last point I'm going to mention there is Scopus. Scopus is one database that I'm going to concentrate on its own. Scopus is a powerful citation database. What do we mean by citation database? It's a database that gives citations about items but doesn't necessarily have the full text. It's not a full text database, but it is the largest citation database in the world. So that means if you're doing a literature review and you want to find out everything that was published in a field, Scopus is a great tool for that. Now, sometimes you can get the full text, sometimes you can't, but when you're doing a literature review, you're not necessarily after all the full text. What you're trying to do is identify the big voices, the trends, the theories, the things that developed over time in your field. And Scopus is a perfect tool for that. It has very powerful built-in tools, and I'll show that to you as well. So let me just move on. Okay. So first off, I'm going to jump out of the presentation. I'm going to go into the library's website. I'm going to show you how you can access resources when you're off campus. Then I'm going to show you how to use library search, and then I'm going to show you what Scopus looks like. So let me just bear with me while I jump out and I go to the library's website. And there we see the library's website. Hopefully you've all have visited this before. It's the center of information here at NUST. There are a lot of things that can help you, but I'm going to start off with library search. Library search is smack bang in the middle of the page over there. That's the basic search. If you want to do a more advanced search, you can go up to search at the top menu, go to library search, click there, and it'll give you another way to do a search. But let's stick to the simple search first. The options here are you can search by keyword, title, or author. Underneath there is an option to do an advanced search, but we're not going to worry about that now. Now let's do a basic keyword search. Now, searching an academic database is not like searching Google. When you search Google, you can type in a sentence. You can say, what is the closest car wash to my house? And Google has all these fancy algorithms because they have billions of dollars. And with Google Maps, they'll download your information. They can see where you are, they analyze the sentence, and you'll get the information. Academic searching is different. It's not as big an involved tool like that. So when you search, you're not going to type in a sentence. You're only going to pick out the most important keywords in your sentence. You leave out things like this, and stuff like that. Just the most important words that are going to guide your search. Now, is somebody out there willing to offer something that they are searching for that we can use as an example? Something maybe related to their studies at the moment? Either in linguistics or in English literature, or anyone? Okay. Well, I'm just going to use my imagination. I'm going to type in here English. And I'm going to start very broad, and I will show you how you can narrow your search down later. So I'm going to click on the search, and we wait for the database, for the engine to deliver the results. While we wait for that, I just want to show you quickly on the main page. If you are on campus, you can go and search the databases without using passwords. If you are off campus, what you have to do is you go up to the resources. You go across here where it says, if you want to see the databases on campus, you click on campus. If you're away from the campus, you click off campus. Click there, and what you do is you log in. You log in with your student number, and you use the same password as you use for other NAS services. I think for webmail and other stuff like that. You can use that, and then you can log in, and you'll see this. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Stephen.
Yes.
There are some students who are struggling. I keep receiving messages.
Struggling with?
Joining the presentation. I think some of them did not register, probably.
Maybe that might be it. If no one was joining, that would be an issue, but we've got quite a few people in already, so I don't know if it's a system fault.
Oh, okay. Sorry for that.
No worries, no worries. But like, we are recording, so you know they can always catch up later. So yes, you can log in from off campus and you can see the list of databases and you can see the library search there. Anyway, let's get back to our results list from our search. We can see here we got, just with English linguistics, we got nearly 6 million results, which is a ridiculously large amount of results. But I'm going to show you how you can make eating that elephant a lot easier. All right. Now you can see we've got everything from books to ebooks to conference proceedings. You can see here on the side it tells you what kind of stuff it is. Academic journal articles, all of it is lumped in here in one result. So to bring this down, the first thing that you are going to do is to say, I only want to see the full text. Look on the menu on the left-hand side where it says Limit To. First one you will do is full text, because if you are after full text, you don't want to be teased with just a citation. Because, like I said before, not all the databases always give the full text stuff. You don't want your time wasted if you want to access the full text. Then what you will do is you will click on full text. And we see that nearly 6 million jumps down to 2.3 million. All right, that is great. The next thing you can do is if you are supposed to be limiting your age of your sources, if your lecturers, your teacher said to you, don't use anything older than 20 years, then you can do that over here. And you can say 2011 to 2022. I say enter. And look at that, jump down to 1.2 million. Still a lot, but we at least know everything is within the last 10 years. And then we could start looking at things. Now, if you are after physical library books, okay, then what you might want to do is you just say catalog only. You see there, catalog only? That if I click on that, it's only going to show us the books in the shelves in the library, in all the libraries here in NUST. So I click that. And now look, all of them say book, book, book. These are physical old school books. So if I had to open the first one up, I click there, you'll get more information about that book, publication information, which is important if you have to do referencing, content notes, which was either sometimes an abstract or they show the chapters that are inside that book, because sometimes a chapter can be appropriate to your needs, not just the whole book. And then you can look, if you want to borrow that book, the important information to look at is here at the bottom where it says location, all this down here. All right. So if it says main in front, then we know that's the main library. This is here in Windhoek. This is the big library, the original. Okay. So if you're in Windhoek and you want to borrow from the Windhoek library and it says main, then this is going to be important to you. Then we look at it says short loan. So this is obviously a book that is probably a textbook. And so when a book is a textbook and gets used by a lot of people, we stick it in short loan so that everyone has access to it. So to get it from short loan, you'd go up to the level 4 into the back left corner. Over here is the call number. This is the shelf number, the physical location of the book. You need that. If you want to borrow this book, you're going to have to write down that number or photograph it or whatever, so that the people in the library can help you to find it. And then it says available. That means this book should be on the shelf right now. If you came and you wanted to borrow it, it should be there. If it doesn't say available, but instead it gives a date, then you know someone has borrowed it and the date is when it should be returned. Okay. So then if you're in a rush, it might be better than to move and look on for another book. But you can see at least we've got 2-3 copies here. Chances are good you will be able to find a copy. Let's look at one more example before I jump out of this. Here is one that is on the open shelves. The open shelves are the shelves of books on the level 3 and 4, the tall ones where you can go and borrow books for 2 weeks. So there's the information, there's content notes again, mentioning the chapters inside the book. And here we can see again, it says main, so it's invented, it's on the open shelf, it can be borrowed. There's the location, and it's available. Now, during normal times, and we hope those normal times come back, you can actually go to the shelves yourself and fetch the book off the shelf, take it to the circulation desk, and you can borrow it with your student card. However, during these dangerous times of COVID, we want to prevent the spread of the bug. So what you can do is you just go to the circulation desk, ask them for the book, give them the shelf number, the call number, and they will go and get it off the shelf for you. And that way we lessen the chances of viruses spreading by people touching the books. Okay, but that is now how you search for physical books. What do you do if you want other kinds of stuff like videos, conference proceedings, things like that? So I'm going to take away the catalog only over here. I'm going to delete that and go back one step. So we're looking at everything. Let's give it a second. Okay. And now we're back up to the 1.2 million. And now I look at under limit 2, it says they're peer reviewed. If something is peer reviewed, it's a journal article or a conference proceeding. Those are the main 2 types of sources of information that are peer reviewed. So we click there, we wait for what happens. And here we can see all the types of sources now are either academic journals or they are conference proceedings. All right. So how do I access these items now? I did ask for full text, so I should be able to access everything. Now, if I look at this first one, these are all the titles. These in blue are the titles of the articles. So you would scan these to see if you can, if it looks interesting, if it's something you can use. I'm not an expert in the field, so I'm just going to show you an example. So I'm going to open this first one in a new window. And this is a great example. So here on top, we see the title of the article. Underneath the source, this is the name of the journal that it was published in. And there it gives the date of publication, the volume, the issue number, and the page range. Okay, important if you want to do referencing. Subject terms and keywords. These are very helpful if you are struggling to find enough sources. Okay, and this is the only source or one of the few sources you found. Look at the kind of subject terms that are being used and the kind of keywords, because this might give you ideas for different keywords that you can copy, go back, put into the search box, and then that way manipulate your search and hopefully get more results. Abstracts. Abstracts are a very good tool. They're going to be your best friend. Papers, research papers can easily be 20 pages long. You don't want to read 20 pages before you realize, this is not from, this doesn't serve my research. I don't need to use this. You've wasted a long time now, okay? So always read the abstract and you can quickly decide, this is something I could use or this is something I can pass by and move on to something else. All right. Then there are tools that you see here on the right-hand side under tools. If you've got a Google Drive account, you can send this article straight to there. There is a print function, but people, we don't kill trees anymore, so let's not use the print. Email is if you're in a rush, you're on a strange computer here in the library, you haven't got time to, you forgot your memory stick, use the email function, email the article to yourself. If If you do have your memory stick or you're on your own laptop or something, you can save it here as well. And then we see this button here, Cite. If I click on that and I go down, I see here APA 7th edition. Very important, 7th edition, because we switched from 6th edition to 7th edition here at NUST last year. And there are some important differences, especially the way you add links in and how you deal with multiple authors and things like that. I'll show you just now. We've got some guides that can help you with that. So here they give you a reference to this article. Now it's up to you. You can copy this and you can use this. But remember, at the end of the day, this was generated by a machine. If it's wrong, you can't blame a machine. At master's level, you're supposed to be wise enough to check things. So always check that these are right, because machines aren't perfect either. Okay. But for someone that has no knowledge of APA, this can be a great starting point. Okay. Okay, so now you like the look of this article and you want to get hold of it. And you see here, you've got an option between HTML full text or PDF full text. People, PDF is your friend. All right. Let's go to the HTML. If I scroll down, here we can see the HTML. HTML is the web format, okay? We see a long list of text, a long column. It carries on, it carries on, it carries on. We can't see things like graphs, things like that. They sometimes get messed up in HTML. We don't see page numbers, okay? So if you are, for instance, referencing and you're quoting, you have to use a page number. You can't see a page number when it is HTML. But if I open it as a PDF, I'm just going to do that now quickly. And here we see the article in exactly the same format as the day when it was published in the paper journal. Everything is retained, the formatting, everything. So if I want to see things like page numbers, there's my page number. If there's anything like graphs or tables or anything like that, nothing is messed up. I don't even know if this one has graphs or tables, but take my word for it. And also, it's much easier to save a PDF than it is to save an HTML. Excuse me. And also, if you're going to be using Mendeley, you can upload PDFs into Mendeley, but you can't really upload HTML documents into it. Now, for that purpose, I'm just going to quickly save this, save as, because when we get to Mendeley, I can then put it into your folder as you find your articles. I'm going to put mine into meal. I'm going to call this article 1. Save. Okay. And that is how you would go about finding your articles. Now I'm going to show you a different example from the results list. This one, we see here it says full text finder. It doesn't show us a PDF. So I'm going to open this one. And mostly it looks like the other one. We've got our subject terms, we've got our titles, we've got our description or abstract over there. But instead of showing me a PDF, it's giving me, let's see if I click there, what? Okay, this is a bad example. Let me find another one. Apologies. Murphy's Law. Here we go. Here we see, instead of saying, giving us a PDF, it's telling us full text finder. All you do is you click on full text finder, it goes to a new window. And then it says check for full text at publisher's site. So I click there. And what it does now, it's taking me into that individual database, and it's going to show me the article right there. And if I want to download it, I click on PDF. Open it up, and there is my article. All right. So just a few more steps than the other one. I just had to do 2-3 more extra clicks. Let me just save this quickly. I'm just going to call this one. I'll leave that there. I say save. I've got 2 articles now. Why did I have to do extra clicks here? And that's because this discovery search engine, what it does is it has to speak many different languages, because all these different databases maybe speak variations of the same programming. I'm not an IT expert. This is how my simple brain can understand it. Now, with some of them, it speaks basically the same language and it can give you the PDF immediately. But with some others, it has to use a translator. So in that case, when it has to translate the information, it adds a couple of links that you have to click in between. But at the end of the day, you're still going to find your article, no problem. That's just so if people don't get discouraged and think, I can't find all the articles, you can still. All right, so that is how you find your basic articles, academic level journal articles. All right. What if I am after something like ebooks? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away peer reviewed so that we see everything again. And then I go down, and when it says source types on the left-hand side here at the bottom, it says ebooks. I click on ebooks. And I start getting ebook results. You see everything now says ebook, ebook, all the way down. So now you scan the titles and you look for ones that look interesting. So say, for instance, you like the look of this book here. I'm just going to open it up there. Here I can see details about the book, read the description, which is basically an abstract of the book. And if you like the look of the book and you want to see more, go up to Full Text Finder. Click it and it'll take us right into the ProQuest ebook database. And there we can see the book. So now with ebooks, here is the title up here and the authors below. Okay. And then always important, read this information. This one says your institution has unlimited access to this book. Great. This means many people can look at this book at the same time. There's no restrictions. If you want to read online, you can click there and you can read the book while the internet is live, while you're online. Then it says if you want to download the book, you can get all the books for 14 days, but you have to use something called free third-party software. Now this software that you need to download a book to keep it is called Adobe Digital Editions. It's free, you can download it, you can get it as an app for your phone, or you can get it as a software that you install for your computer. And what happens is when you download a book, it goes inside Adobe Digital Editions. I'm just going to show you quickly what my Adobe Digital Editions looks like. Let's see, where is it? Over here. I open it up. And what happens is every time you download a book, it gets saved inside. You can see I'm a bit of a Harry Potter fan. It gets saved inside this Adobe Digitals. And when you click on it, it allows you to open up the book. You know that. There it is, like that. But what Adobe Digital Editions does is it prevents you from copying this book and sharing it with other people. All right. It's used to protect the copyright of the publishers and of the authors. So if you want to download a book, what you have to do is, so let me just go back to here. You have to go up and you have to create yourself an account. It's got nothing to do with NUST. You can use your NUST email if you like, but you can choose your own password. This is between you and the database vendor. Between what you're doing is like joining a library. If you want to borrow books from a library, you have to get membership. And this is the same here. You create yourself an account. And once you've got an account and you're signed in, you can then download the book. We see the button over here on the side. You can download the book and you'll have it for 14 days. You can read it from Adobe Digital Editions, and then after 14 days, it'll delete itself. Basically, it returns itself back to the library. All right. Other things that you can do while you've got the book downloaded in Adobe Digital Editions is you can make notes and you can make highlights inside the book. They don't affect the book, just a book inside your Adobe Digital Editions, so that while you're working, it's almost like working on paper. You can make notes and highlighting and stuff like that. Then we also see when it says download chapters, we see we get 109 pages that you can download as PDF. This is copyright, so this book is probably like 1,000 pages long, and 10% is usually what they allow. So they are saying 109 pages you can download and keep forever and ever. You know, it doesn't disappear off your computer, or you don't need special software. So this is great because this is not a storybook. This is not Harry Potter that you read from page 1 to page 400. Okay, this is a book that's on a topic, and there might just be a chapter that you need for your work. So if you like, let's grab one here. The definite article in World Englishes, this chapter here. And if I click on download PDF, it's going to say your PDF is ready for download. You can download it. And what it's going to do is, we can see here, it's 14 pages long. So you take 109 minus 14, and then what's left over is what you can keep downloading until you reach a limit, and then they won't allow you to download anymore. Then you've used up your whole 10%. Okay. Yeah, and also, if you see that says add to bookshelf, when you create yourself an account, you get yourself a virtual bookshelf. So if you save this book to the bookshelf, even if you haven't downloaded it anymore, if you're using this book often, instead of having to come into the database and search the book from the beginning again, you just come to eBook Central, you log in, and you open your bookshelf, and your book is there waiting for you, and you can make annotations in it and stuff. So it's just a virtual bookshelf for the books that you use most often. All right, I hope that makes sense. There is a guide on the library website that I will show you, but let's go back. Let's go look at one more ebook. Let's go here. Let's see. They're all pretty much the same. Now, time is running away with us, so let's get on to it. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of the ebooks. And I'm going to look at everything again, the 1.2 million. Because so far we've been using these limiters in the left margin to determine what we see, you know, the age range, the full text, the peer reviewed, and so forth. But think about it. If you want information, 1.2 million on English linguistics, you might want to make that more specific, okay? You might want to talk about English linguistics in a certain context, in a certain population group, in a certain country. So what I'm going to do is usually you start quite broad. Let's say English linguistics, and we say Africa. We say search. So now we're down to 128,000. Okay. Now how these articles are arranged is by relevance. So the articles at the top will be the ones that contain all your keywords. And then it'll go down to, so at the moment we've got 3 keywords. Then it'll go down, it'll become just 2 of your keywords and just 1 of your keywords. So don't be too specific, because it might be that the results you get only contain 1 keyword, and that's no good. Now, 128,000 is still a pretty decent number. You can always narrow it down a bit further and say, English linguistics, Namibia. Let's see if there's anything published from Namibia about English linguistics. 8,949. But remember, this is by relevancy, so it might just be the top few ones that are of interest. Now look at this one. It's interesting. We've even got an audio file over here. So somebody has created an audio file. A corpus linguistic study of the nativism of the English language at the Namibia University of Science and Technology. And stuff. So there is quite a bit of stuff here. So then you can go in and you can either listen to it or download the PDFs. Okay. So that is also another way that you can narrow it. Now this is all this that I've been showing you is how to search the databases all together in one go. But what if you are doing a literature review and you want to now start analyzing the field, the publications? Just hang on for 1 second. Sorry, somebody phoned and they kept phoning. So unless I told them what I was doing, they wouldn't stop. Okay, so we searched using library search all the databases, but I want to show you Scopus. Scopus is the powerful database for doing things like literature reviews and stuff. So I'm going to go here to resources. If you're on campus, you click on campus. If you're off campus, you go through off campus. But I'm on campus now, so I'm going to go here. And I'm going to go down alphabetically to S for Scopus. Click there. Okay. Now, something I want to mention to you is, let me just sign in quickly. Okay. Why did I sign in now? That's for a very good reason. You can go into Scopus and you can create a free account. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything. Now, Scopus belongs to a company called Elsevier. They are a very large publishing company in the world, especially in academia. And they are also the people that own Mendeley, the reference manager. So if you have a Scopus account, you can use the same login for Mendeley and vice versa. And also the IEEE database, which is theirs. Why that's important is there's certain advantages. If you're using Scopus and you've got a Mendeley account as well, you can export your results from Scopus directly into Mendeley. But before we get there, here's the basic page, and I'm just going to do a very basic search. So it says you search within article, title, abstract, for keywords. I'm just going to type in English linguistics. Let's take a chance and say Namibia. And I'm going to do a search. And there we get a ton of results. How many results? We got 7,446 results. Wow, that's pretty good. So now you're going to start seeing articles. You can start going through them or you can narrow it down. But let's say if you want to take specific ones, but first, before we choose articles, I want to show you how you can analyze the results. So I'm just going to pick all for the moment. You can see every article has now got a block marked against it. And I'm going to click here on Analyze Search Results. I click there. And this is where the powerful analysis tools come into play. So we can see things, for instance, like document results, documents by year. And we can see for a long time, from 2006 to 2015, very little was published about. You can see here nothing basically on the side here was published about linguistics in Namibia. But then suddenly in 2015, it started going up. So if we look here on the top, 2018, we had 2 articles published by about linguistics in Namibia. If we click here, documents per year per source, we can see that these are the main journals that are publishing information about linguistics, English linguistics in Namibia. So how is this handy? If you are someone that wants to publish about your article is about English linguistics in Namibia, you can see who has published those kind of articles in the past, and you might approach these kind of journals to publish your article. Documents by author, let's go there. Here we can see the people that are publishing in the field. So if you want to identify other experts, you can do this, and you can click on here and you can see the details of their articles. Let's carry on down. By affiliation, that means which organizations are they affiliated with. And here we can see, now this is a very small field. So at the moment, everything is 111. what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to results. I'm going to say edit. I'm just going to look for English linguistics. I want a nice broad thing to analyze. Which again, I'm going to go big this time. I'm going to say all, and I'm going to say analyze. I want to get a nicer spread when we look at the analysis. See, this looks much nicer in the graph. So here we can see in the field of English linguistics, we can see that it was very quiet here in the beginning. Then from about 1974, it started picking up. And then, yeah, 1995 was a bumper year. Suddenly, things just went up. Now, of course, 2023 is going to be down there. But this shows how far journals plan their articles ahead of time. But look at this. 2021 is not even over yet, and we've got 680 articles were published in that field. So you can see it's a growing thing. Either the academia is finding the field more exciting, or there are just more people out there publishing. Let's go look at by source. So now we can see the top journals when it comes to publishing English linguistics. Lecture notes include blah, blah, blah. So that looks like it might be a conference publication. SEWR workshop proceedings, they publish a lot. Journal of the Acoustical Society of America, blah, blah, blah. You can identify the big journals. And yeah, you can also see individually by the journals who is when they publish it. You hold it over there and you can see the name of the journal. Documents by year, I think we've basically seen that already. By author. Aha, whoever A-Way is, they have written 68 articles in the past on the field of English linguistics. So here we are looking at the big voices in the field, all right? The kind of people that if you wanted to include some of their information in your literature review, these are the people that your supervisor would recognize as well, probably. All right, so that is how you identify big voices. Let's go down by affiliation. Interesting. Chinese Academy of Sciences. They're only slightly ahead of Carnegie Mellon. Carnegie Mellon is an English-speaking university, so that makes sense. But it's interesting. Chinese Academy of Sciences is publishing so much in English linguistics. Very surprising, but good to know. Yeah, we can see by a university or affiliation who are the ones that are publishing most in the field of English linguistics. Let's go down by territory. There we see the United States is far ahead. They collectively with all the US universities, they've more than double of what China, but still it's surprising to find China in second place. United Kingdom makes sense. They're soon after China. So here we can see the big countries publishing in that field. Let's look at documents by type. Now, interesting. Normally, articles dominate, but we see English linguistics is very strong in the conference field. So a lot of papers are delivered at conferences about English linguistics. Very interesting. But of course, articles are usually the thing that are published the most in. But we see, for instance, book chapters make up a lot. Books make up 2.7% of the results. So, and if you want to go and look at any of these, you can always go and click on the number and see the information, the individual stuff for yourself. And let's go down, and then by funding sponsor. This is especially if you're a full-time lecturer, researcher, you're always looking for sources of funding for your research. And here we can see the biggest sponsors of research in that field. National Institutes of Health, they're the big one. US Department of Health and Human Services. National Science Foundation, that makes sense. National Science Foundation and so forth. So these are the people that put the most into research. So the point I'm trying to make here is that these are powerful tools that if you had to try and do them manually would take you ages and ages and ages. But by using a tool like Scopus, you can get the results pretty quickly. Now, let's look at, for instance, the results. If you're marking the ones that you're interested in, you like that one, and you like that one, and you like that one, then you can mark them and you can create a list, save to a list. See over there? And it'll put into a list, and because you have an account, that list will be saved in your account. What you could also do, for instance, is you can say save to Mendeley. So if I click there, the data for 3 documents you have selected have been exported to Mendeley. Okay, and I'll show you them just now when we deal with Mendeley. They've been sent to Mendeley automatically. Brilliant. Saves me a lot of work. All right. Now, let's, for instance, look at these ones here. Now, I told you this is a citation database, so there's no guarantee of full text. But they do give you a link to the publisher. So if you, for instance, you can view the abstract if you like over there. But if you want to see if you can get the full text, click at View at Publisher. We click there. There we see, now we see it's at the APA database, but we don't subscribe to it. So if you try to access it now, you'd have to be asked for money. But if you desperately want an article, ask the library. We have an interlibrary loans librarian, and she will try and get hold of articles for you. Sorry, could you just mute? Could you mute, please? Okay. All right. Let's try one more. This is another database that we don't subscribe to. But if you wanted to ask the library, and we can sometimes get hold of these articles for you. But then sometimes you get lucky, and it is in a database that we do subscribe to, and then you can download it. All right. So in a nutshell, this is Scopus. There's a lot more to Scopus, but we're short on time. There are YouTube videos out there. There's tons of help outside there that can help you. Take a look, and it can be a great tool. All right. So let's get away from this and go back to our presentation. Okay. Now, I quickly want to mention Google Scholar and how you can link Google Scholar to NUST. I'm sure most of you have used Google Scholar before, and it's a good tool. I do recommend it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up my browser, and I'm going to open up Google Scholar quickly. That's very easy to find. .google.com. Okay, there's someone here who's not unmuted, who's unmuted, and sound is creeping in. So please mute. Okay. So Google Scholar looks very similar to Google. It's a familiar interface. But the difference between Google and Google Scholar is that Google Scholar only sources its results from academic level sources like library databases, publishers databases, academic social media like ResearchGate, and open access sources. So it cuts out a lot of the crap that you would find with a regular Google. So if I type in English linguistics, and look at it, it's giving me suggestions. Maybe you like English linguistics theories. Let's click on that. And here we start getting results. We see, much like you do when you search the library databases, you get a list of results. Now, sometimes there will be books, but which you can't read, but they're at least telling you about them. But a lot of the times they will be journal articles. Now, the interesting thing to look at is these blue links on the side. See there, ResearchGate, Academia, UNP. These are places where you should be able to download these articles for free. So if I click on the ResearchGate one, there I found the article or book chapter or whatever it is for free. Didn't ask me for any money. So I'm just going to quickly save this. Save it there. And the reason I got hold of this for free, because this is an open access source. Open access is a movement that is saying they've existed for more than a decade now, and they are saying these expensive databases that libraries have to pay for, it's ridiculous. They're saying, why should people have to pay for information that should be free? It's creating a divide between the rich countries and the poor countries because, of course, the rich countries can subscribe to all the databases and the poor countries can't. So this movement is trying to make things more equal. So more and more researchers are making their research available for free, as this person did here on ResearchGate. Some universities like MIT and in Los Angeles, the university system there are saying all our publications are going to be open access in the future. So this is a growing movement. So we still have to deal with a lot of paid proprietary ones that give us issues, but more and more you can find stuff available for free. Now, if we look at this one, for instance, ACL Web, or let's go down here to academia. The academia is another sort of social media for researchers. But now the ones to be careful for are the ones where there is nothing next to them, if there's no link. This is probably a source that we don't that won't give it to you for free, or it's not full text. And here we don't see any PDF link, so we can't download there. So you can ignore them here if it says. But now I want to show you how you can link Google Scholar to see what is available through our databases that we subscribe to. The way you do that is you go up here to the left corner where you see the 3 stripes. Click there. You go down to settings. You click there. And then you click on library links. And here you see you will search Namibia University of Science and Technology, and you will get these 2 results over here, like I've got here. You make sure that you tick in both boxes and you save. And the moment you save, Google Scholar downloads a cookie onto your browser for this computer. You'll have to repeat it for each device and computer that you're using. It doesn't follow you. And then in future, when you search Google Scholar, it's going to remember, but you're a NUST person. So I can show you the ones that are available through your databases. So let's see if I can find one here, for instance. So here's one from JSTOR. JSTOR is a database that we pay for. So now if you weren't a NUST person, just regular Joe citizen, if you try to click on this one here, you wouldn't be allowed to get the article. But because NUST has paid for it and you've linked your NUST to Google Scholar, go now and there we go. I've got the article for free. Well, NUST paid for it. You as a student got it for free. I'm just going to save this quickly, put this into my meal folder, and I'm going to say save. I'm going to close it down. Okay. So that is Google Scholar in a nutshell. Scholar is great for showing you stuff that is open access, and there's a lot of good open access stuff. But if you connect it, it'll also show you what is in our databases, journal articles and stuff like that. Now, let's look at this one, this PDF one this JSTOR one that we just saved. There's some tools that you can use. For instance, if you click on the site, it'll give you the APA. But remember, this is a problem. We don't know if this is APA 6th or APA 7th. I suspect this is still 6th. So this can help you get started, but don't, for goodness sake, put this as your final reference. Because also we found this online and they're not giving any link in this. But at least they'll give you the basic information about who the author is, the year and the title and the journal. Okay, and what you should also look at is here where it says cited by 63. That one is 63. If we go down, we see the rest are like 9, 4, stuff like that. 63 is quite a bit bigger. What that means is 63 other people who did their research and wrote their articles used this article as a source in their paper. And if it's a big number like 63, you know that this is probably a person that came, since we're talking about theories, that this is an important theory possibly, or information about theories. So you might want to give this article a double look. It might be worth including in your review and your paper, okay, versus maybe using one that is only cited by one person. Now that shouldn't be the only things that guide you, but later on you'll find out in the world of academia, people succeed and fail by the impact that their articles have. And look at this one, cited by 1,860. If you're in engineering, sometimes you can see even bigger than numbers than that. And medicine, just think about Dr. Fauci, how many citations his articles are getting in research. So that's also what you can see in Google Scholar. And then also, if you click on now and it's cited by 63, it'll show you all those 63 people that use that article as a source. And this is a sideways way of searching, because if that article was interesting to them, for their articles, then their articles might be interesting to you too. Okay. So that's Google Scholar. Now let's quickly move on to Mendeley before we run out of time. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open, and I'm going to say search for Mendeley. To find Mendeley, it's very easy. You just type www.mendeley.com. Okay, now it's automatically logged me in because I've got an account and I've been using it. So I'm just quickly going to sign out. Because I want you to see it the way, to show you to you the way you would see it for the first time. So if you went to mendeley.com, you would come to this page and you would see here, sign in or create an account. So as I mentioned previously, if you haven't created an account in Scopus already, you can create the account here. The login would be the same for both because they both belong to the same company, Elsevier. So once you've created an account, you can sign in. Now here it says download. What is this download about? All right. Mendeley exists in two states. It exists online in the cloud on the internet. You can create an account like you would with Facebook or something like that. But you can also download a version of Mendeley onto your computer. Why do they have this? Well, imagine you're coming to the library, you haven't got your laptop with you, you want to do some research and work on your references. You can go to the cloud, you can log in and you can work on your references. Then you're back home and maybe you don't have internet at home. You've got the downloaded version on your computer and you can carry on working without the internet. Okay. So what I'm going to do quickly is I'm first going to sign in here. You need to create an account. Click there, I say sign in. And there's the front page. And the thing that I'm after is this here where it says library. This is where I am saving all the references over time. Now remember, I've been teaching for a while, so there's going to be a lot. So in the past, when teaching, I've uploaded these, okay, references. But you can control this mess by creating folders. So I can, for instance, go down here and I can say meal. I've created a folder for meal. And last year when I was giving this class, I uploaded some articles, but this is still a nice manageable amount. Okay. And now I want to add some more. How can I add more articles into my account on Mendeley? So to do that, what I do is I go up here and I say add new. I say files from computer, because remember I was saving all these PDFs. So I go to documents, I go to meal. I highlight all my PDFs and I say open. And look at that. Now it's added that my list is longer now. The ones that I found today have been put into the list. So now I can go through my list. Now, what is the point of doing this? Okay, the point of this is to give you a way to manage your references. If you're an undergraduate, first, second, third year, your assignments usually have, what, 15, 20 references that you have to give? You can keep control of that on a piece of paper. But when you are doing a thesis, you're going to be dealing with possibly, what, 50, 60, even more? Then it becomes much easier to use a tool like this. And this tool not only allows you to organize, it also allows you to, for instance, work on items inside. Now we see here, for instance, if I just click once on that one, on the right hand side here, it is giving me information about that article. Okay. And if I double click on it, it is giving me the article that I uploaded. Why is this handy? Well, if I wanted to work on this article, and my articles are all in PDF uploaded here. I can, for instance, say I want to choose yellow, and I can highlight something. Now we see it is highlighted in yellow. And this will be saved inside Mendeley. So when I close and come back tomorrow or the day after, I come back, it is still highlighted. Other thing that I can do is I can say I want to make a note. So let's say I like put my cursor there. I say hi, note, put it where I want to put the note, click there, and I say something like important to share. And I say click out of it. And now you see it's left a little notes box. If I click on that notes box, it gives me my note, and that'll be saved as well. So this is one thing that it does, is it helps you. You can work in one space on all your articles, make notes, instead of printing them out and using the manual method of pen and paper, which can get messy and can get lost and can get damaged. This is a way you can work on your papers. Okay, let me go back to the library. We'll close this down here. Library. Okay, back here again. Now, remember, it'll only show you the document if you uploaded a PDF. If you haven't got a PDF, for instance, this one here, I don't think is a PDF. Double click on it. Oh, it does have a PDF. Okay, my apologies. So there we go. So this is what it looks like when you're working online. All right. Now, I want to show you the one that I downloaded, the Mendeley that you can download onto your computer. So I minimize this and I go here, and here is the app on my desktop, Mendeley desktop. I open it up. I've already logged in. Now I added articles on the online one, but I haven't added them yet. What do I do about that? Well, what you do is up here it says sync. If you click on sync and the internet is live, it will sync between the desktop version and the cloud version, and it should be adding them into this account now. Don't know how long it'll take, but let's give it a chance. Sometimes the slow internet affects things. Okay, we'll leave that there for the moment to do that. Let it sync. Now, another amazing thing that you can do from Mendeley desktop only is you can use Mendeley desktop to do in-text citations in your Word documents and to add your reference list automatically into your Word document in the correct format, everything right. Okay, and I'll show you that now. That is I've had a student call it the praise Jesus moment when they see that. That's really my favorite thing about Mendeley. It's how it makes in-text citation and reference list easy when you're busy typing your assignment. See, it now added them in, it's synced. They're both now showing the same stuff. So we can do the same thing here, for instance. If I click here. Now, very importantly, when I click once, it gives me this metadata on the right-hand column here. Please, for goodness sake, check that everything is correct, that the title is correct, the publication, all that information is correct. The reason why it needs to be correct is when you are doing your references automatically in Word later, if there's a mistake in this section here, then the mistake is going to appear in the reference list as well. But generally it gets it right, and it's no issue with it. Now you might be asking, what do I do if I've been reading a physical book and I want to add the reference? Well, a book is not a PDF. You can't upload that whole book, physical book into, but what you can do is you can upload the citation. So you see here where we added just now the PDFs, what you can do is you can click on that little arrow there and you can say add entry manually. So let's say, for instance, it was a book. Choose book and it'll have the fields. And you fill in the authors, you fill in the year and all the kind of information you can, and you save. And then it'll save the book's details in your list over here. But you just won't be able to open up a PDF. But that will help you when you are creating your reference list later on in Word. So there's that. Now, without wasting too much time, I want to show you the praise Jesus moment. Okay, I'm going to open up just a Word document here. blank document. Okay. Now, before you open your Word document, you have to connect Word with Mendeley so that they can speak to each other. So the way to do that, if I open up my Mendeley again, and I go here to Tools on the top, click on Tools, and it says, you also say Install MS Word plugin. So you click on Install. It's a little program. It installs, and once the plugin is installed, Mendeley can speak to Word. So I'll go back, I open up my Word again, and now with Word open, I go to References, and you'll see there's a new section over here with the Mendeley. Okay, make sure that you have picked American Psychological Association 7th edition, and then you can start working. So now you are typing your Word, your thesis, your assignment, whatever. All right. I'm not going to write real sentences. I'm just going to write rubbish now, but it's the demonstration that's important. So I'm busy typing my sentence, blah, 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 blah. And now I want to put in a citation from one of my sources that I am using. Okay. So what I do is I go up here and it says Insert Citation. Click there. I say go to Mendeley. It's showing me my meal folder where I've got all my meal sources. I'm going to grab the first one. You just highlight it once, and then you click on Cite. Just watch this magic. Boom, there it is. Baker, 1988. And then you carry on writing. And when you've used information from one of your other sources, you go to Insert Citation. You say go to Mendeley. You click on whichever source you were using. Maybe it was Gravano. Click there. You say Cite. Boom, there it is. Okay. And so you carry on through your work. Now I'm just going to create a new fresh page because I want to show you what you do with your reference list. So now you type in, a reference list is always on a fresh page. You type in the heading References. And now you want to add your reference list. And you go here. It says Insert Bibliography. Don't worry about that. Just click it there. Boom. It puts in your 2 references right there. Right? Why only 2? Because you've only used 2 in your work so far. That's the difference between a bibliography and a reference list. A reference list is only the ones that you've used in your work. A bibliography is all the sources that you've read, even if you use them in your work or not. Now look what happens. Paragraph, I'm going to carry on writing, blah, 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 blah. And I use another source for my information. I go Insert Citation. I say go to Mendeley. Maybe this time I used Volker Gast. I click there. I say Cite. Puts it in. And look what happened to my list. My list got longer. Gast is now in there. And as you are typing and adding sources, blah, 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 blah. Say Insert Citation. Go to Mendeley. I'm going to add de Klerk. I say that one. I say Cite. Puts it in there. And if I go down here, now we see de Klerk. Perfect in APA, 7th style, alphabetically, all the right hanging stuff looks good to me. Now, some people might say, now you see here, this ND means no date. This means in the document, in Mendeley, let's see, is it Gast? See here, they're warning me, there's something wrong here. This thing hasn't been completed properly. The year field has not been done. That's why it's important to make sure that these are right inside Mendeley. Otherwise, the problems will crop up inside Word when you're busy doing your list. Okay. Now, let's say, for instance, sometimes you need to change this information in the citation fields. All right. Sometimes you need to put in a page number. Sometimes if you're quoting someone, you need to take this name out. So let's say I'm going to quote Baker now. So I say, according to Baker, you would have the quotation mark, and you would say blah, 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 blah. And then you would say, boom. Okay, you would put in your citation over there. So you say insert citation, you say go to Mendeley, you say Baker, you say cite. See, now this is wrong now because I've already got Baker in the sentence. I want to take Baker out of the citation. All you do is you click there, you say, now watch what happens. I click out, it says insert citation, but once I click on the citation, it changes to edit citation. I click on edit citation, I click on Baker 1988, and then I can say suppress the author. Say suppress author, I say okay. Now it's correct. It says according to Baker 1988, blah, blah, blah. And then you usually have to put the page number at the end, so then you can say insert citation, go to Mendeley, Baker, cite, and then you can edit this to leave just page numbers or something. So edit citation, Baker, we say put page number 32, so that's where you found the information, and suppress the author and all that stuff. You say okay, and then you can mess around with it that way. So that's how you can edit your citations. All right. So I hope this is as wonderful to you as it is wonderful to me to show you, because it is really a great tool for that reason. Now, while we're on the topic of APA, I just want to show you the library's website, because we do have tools that can help you. Go back here, we go to the library's website. If you are after guides for APA, you will see there is a brief APA citation guide that I have updated. You can download it as a PDF, you can keep it, it costs you nothing. It's up to 7th edition now, and it'll give you help with the basic things like in-text citation and then the most common sources. So that is things like books, book chapters. So there we see books, how to reference a book, how to reference book chapters, how to reference a journal article, a printed one that has a DOI, so that's a DOI link, or ones that don't have a DOI that you have to add a normal URL link in, how to deal with newspapers and web items and audiovisual materials. But there's a lot of exceptions, lots of different kinds of things. If you want to know how to cite a movie or an episode or a YouTube video or something like that, then you're going to need a broader guide. Now, we do have a broader guide, and it is over here. It's called APA Citation Guide. It was also upgraded. However, management have decided that they don't want to give it away for free. We're trying to change their mind, but they said that the NUS guide, we have to charge 30 Namibian dollars for the digital version, and you can do it by following the instructions here, paying at the cashier, sending the receipt to Anna Yankees, who's our secretary, and then she will send you a digital copy. Or if you want a physical printed copy for 60 bucks, you can just ask me and bring me a receipt and I can give you that. However, I understand that people don't necessarily always want to pay for things. APA is one of the most widely used citation systems. So there is a lot of information on the internet. And one that I recommend is if you go up to research, you go to research quick links, you go down here to APA, American Psychological Association style, you click there, and this takes you to the online guide of the Purdue University's Writing Center, a very well-known writing center. A lot of librarians love pointing students in this direction. So if I go down here and it says APA Formatting and Style Guide, there's a drop-down menu. And let's say, for instance, I found something on a YouTube video that's important that I want to include. So let's say reference list audiovisual materials. I click there. And then it's going to give me categories. Is it a film or a video? A film in another language? Is it a TV series? Is it a YouTube video? There we go, Bob's your uncle. I look down, and then what it does, it gives me a construction. It explains how that reference is constructed. So it starts off with the person or group who uploaded the video. In brackets, the date of publication, the title of the video in italics, in square brackets you put video, and then the website host and the URL. And then they give you an example. So using this information, your source that is a YouTube video, you follow the same structure and information, and if your YouTube reference looks like this YouTube reference, then there's a good chance you've gotten it right. Let's look at something else. Maybe you are using an electronic source. Your source is an electronic source. We go there, and there they mention there's a web page or a piece of online content. Or is it a Wikipedia article? For goodness sake, people, you're master students, don't be referencing Wikipedia articles. Use them for background information, don't use them as sources. But if you want to, they show you how to do it. Let's say, for instance, an online news article that you want to reference. You can go here, they will give you the structure, and then they will give you an example. And you can follow this, compare and contrast, and if yours is looking like theirs, then there's a good chance you've gotten it right, and you can. So keep this in mind. This Purdue University APA guide is very, very handy, and it's free. Okay. While we're on the Research Quick Links page, there's links that we provide for helping people. So if you want information that can help you with dissertation e-learning and advice articles, research proposals, how to write a research proposals, how to write a postgraduate research, how to do a literature review, copyright information for Namibia, thesis and dissertation writing, research methods, stuff like that. Now remember, the information that your supervisor gives you is always paramount. If you find something that disagrees with your supervisor, rather listen to your supervisor, because he or she is the person that is going to be determining whether you get your degree or not. But generally, people agree across the board, so this could be good information that can help you. If we go back to the library's main page, if we go to resources and we go to Unongo repository, this is where we put up all the stuff that is created within NUST. Whether it is theses and dissertations, whether it is speeches by vice chancellors, whether it is articles done by your lecturers, we try and put as much as possible in here. So if we go down here, we go to human sciences, and we go to, for instance, communication, we can see the thesis by students in the past. So if I went to, for instance, this one by Lazarus Goaza, click there. I can see information about his thesis. There's an abstract, and then I can view and open. And in PDF, I can see Lazarus's thesis that he handed in, and it was approved by the department. And this can always inspire you or give you an idea about how you should be doing things. Not copying his work. I'm not talking about plagiarism. I'm just looking at the ethic, the style, the stuff like that. Look at how other people have done their thesis successfully, and this will also help you, hopefully in turn, be inspired to do your thesis correctly. Okay. Close current tab. Okay. Now let's just jump back into the presentation. I just want to make sure that I've covered everything. Okay. So we talked about Google Scholar, we gave a demonstration. We've talked about Mendeley. We did a Mendeley live demonstration. Okay, people, let me stop sharing quickly. Is there anyone that has a question that would like to ask me now, or something that I should go over again? I see here's a question. Is the Common Research Room open for master's students? Yes, it's for master's and doctoral students. What are the new operating hours? Okay, so when the library opens, I'm here, so I open up the room at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then my colleague, she comes at 12 o'clock, and she leaves at, I think it's 8 o'clock, 8:30, 8 o'clock. So technically the room is open from 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the evening during the week, okay? On weekends, unfortunately, we don't have enough staff to open it up, but you can use the general library. And of course, when we're on holidays and breaks and stuff like that, we have shorter hours as well. So during a student vacation, we'll be open from say 8 o'clock until about 4:30. Okay. Any other questions? Then you're welcome to come and use us. Master's students definitely qualify, masters and doctoral students. Any other questions that anyone else might have? Remember, you can also approach me on an individual basis if you get stuck and I can help you. But I also want to quickly, while we're here, the library, I've tried to make things as much DIY as possible. So if I open up the libraries page and I go here to, let's close that, that's library. If you go down here to services and you go down to training, you see all the training that we're doing, the classes that we're doing, including ours today, but you see here are tutorial videos. So please people, I'm not Hollywood, but I try and create helpful videos in my terrible voice. There are things like introduction to NUS library e-resources, how to search for journal articles, how to search for ebooks, how to open downloaded ebooks, how to access the campus, off campus, so forth, how to work with Google Scholar. If you get stuck, you know, and it's the middle of the night, don't get frustrated. Watch a YouTube video that we've created here, and maybe you can help yourself. There's other things you can do as well. If you go here to resources, I think it is services, user guides. Under services is user guides. You'll see there's, for instance, the NUS Library Search Manual, the NUS Library ebook borrowing manual. So if I click there, it opens up a PDF that explains how you can borrow and use ebooks in the library. Okay. Some people like videos, some people like to read stuff. So the guides are there as well. But if after all this, you're still not satisfied, you've got the answer, then please people do contact me. You can also send general help from here. If you see Ask a Librarian, you just click there, you fill in a form and you put your question there. And then as soon as possible, if it's for me, then I will answer as soon as possible. Now remember, I'm a human, I take weekends, I need time to sleep. So if you pose your question in the midnight on Saturday, you're going to get your answer as soon as possible on Monday morning. All right. There's that. But unless you've got any other questions, now's the time to ask. Otherwise, I think we can end this recording.